Welcome back to another video. I've got another board in for you today. It's the A320M-S2H from Gigabyte, and this is one of the entry-level boards from the company, and it features the M.2 connector, which makes it a little bit more interesting than some of the entry boards that are around on the market. We've got 2 fan headers and 5 sensors. And we go down, look at the specs, just 2 DIMM slots with this. The idea with this is go for a budget build, but we still have 6 USB 3.1 ports. We have that M.2 port, and we also have micro ATX form factor, just like the gaming board that I looked at. And when you look at the board, you'll see that it's a bit narrower than the gaming 3.1 that I looked at in micro ATX form factor. That's due to the fact that you have 2 less DIMM slots on the back. Standard connections on this, we have a little bit less than the gaming. We've still got the HDMI, DVI, VGA, that's for the AMD APUs, and then you'll see the blue ports are the USB 3, and we've got the audio connectors. If you've got 7.1, you'll need to use the front panel, but you can use the surround 5.1 with the 3 connectors on the back. And this is the audio chipset, same as the gaming one that I looked at, and I found it to be actually pretty good. I don't use the sound card anymore that I had a couple of years ago. Front audio port on the bottom left, that's the trusted platform module, which most people aren't going to use, and you have the headers here for the USB 2 of them, so that's up to 4 ports, and then you'll see the USB 3 is enclosed on the right. Have the same locking mechanism on the PCI Express graphics card slot, and there's just a small heatsink on the chipset. These run pretty cool. I've noticed the AMD chipsets recently run very cool on the actual heatsink there, so there's no issues with the low profile heatsink. 4 SATA ports, probably enough for most people, and there's the M.2 slot. That's something which doesn't feature on most of the entry-level boards. This board was a little bit more expensive than the one below it, but it had that feature on it instead of a extra USB 3.1 generation 2 port. And here's the 2 DIMM slots. These can take up to 16 gig of RAM each, so much less of a problem than the older boards where I was limited to. The previous build was around, I believe, 4 gigabytes, so you were stuck at 8 gigabytes. With this, you can take it up to 32. So with that in mind, you might want to go for a single stick of 8 gigabytes. And then you'll be able to upgrade later on. Memory is still quite expensive. So we only have the 2 fan headers on this, so you might want to have a look at some splitters. And there is no heatsink on the VRM. But again, with the A320, you can't overclock the processor. But the BIOS on this is pretty much similar to the gaming board that I looked at. Various layouts virtually identical, so you can still adjust the memory timing. That's a quick shot on the back plate. There's no obvious difference in the PCB thickness compared to the mid-level boards that I've looked at, so there's no compromise in terms of quality. Most of these boards have been using solid capacitors for a time now. Just 2 SATA cables with this particular one instead of the 4 that you get with some of the mid-level boards. They do have the locking connectors, same connectors as the other board that I looked at, and you also just get the one with a right angle on it, so I don't really see that as a problem. I have tons of cables around, but the locking cable mechanism's been around for a while with Gigabyte now. Standard backplate on this, nothing too fancy, but it does the job, not the padded one that I saw on the last board that I looked at. Again, we're trying to keep the costs down on this as much as possible and put the money into the components which will make the biggest difference. That's the driver CD. Would definitely recommend downloading the more recent ones, and this is just the basic installation guide that you get with it. Not too detailed, but again, you can download the full manual on the site. So with this particular build, we're looking to save cash on the board, get something basic that's up and running. There shouldn't be any compromises in terms of the reliability or quality. As you can see, the solid capacitors, etc., and the board thickness, both at the same level as the mid-level boards that I've looked at. You just get less features on this board, but you do get that M.2 port, which could be useful for the new super fast SSDs if you're going to use them, something which is to think about for later on. So that's something which I definitely wanted on this particular board, even though I probably won't be using a super fast SSD on it. So look out for that budget build video that I'll be doing. It's going to be based on productivity more than gaming, because I'll be using this computer for rendering, animation, video work. So I'm looking to get the maximum performance we can out of it, and we'll do that by saving money on the board and putting it into the areas which will make the most difference. If you've got any questions on this, just drop a comment below and I'll do my best to get back to you. And thanks very much for watching.